Greetings, scale modelers, and welcome to another quick and dirty build and review. Today's episode, we're going to focus on Revell's 48 scale P61 Black Widow. This is available at every Hobby Lobby nationwide, and this airplane showed up in World War II, middle of the war. It had some production delays, but once it was in action, it served with distinction. In the Pacific, one mission, it got 4 kills. It's very heavily gunned. You got 450s on top, and you got 20 millimeters on the bottom. And if this plane vectored onto your 6, it was probably the last thing that you ever saw, and you probably never saw it coming, and it was over before it even began. So also in Europe, this plane's operational capabilities with its radar let it operate during the Battle of Bastogne in the winter weather when other planes could not operate. So this plane served with distinction, but usually after dark. All right, so let's get into this beautiful aircraft, see how the whole thing came together. Obviously, I've built mine, and let's start having some fun. The P61 kit has 110 parts on 6 sprues, and the instruction manual is the same format and design as other Hobby Lobby kits from Revell, and they all seem to be they follow the same design, presumably from the same time period. So the drawings are nice and clear, and we'll see about the color legend and see how that is. The B25 kit I just built had a very incomplete color guide, so we shall see. I'm at the point now where I'm ready to, I'm going to paint over the black primer, and I'm going to use Tamiya flat black, and then I'll add a gloss coat after that. I got a couple of different options for that, but I got some big yardage to cover, so I got a pretty big mixer of paint going, and I just got to hit these once, and I'll probably have to touch it up after I do some assembly. Scale modelers, I got a puzzler for you. My airbrush, air shoots out of the end of it, and when I put my finger on it and hit the trigger, bubbles come up out of the paint cup. Why the hell is paint not shooting out of that airbrush? Okay, so I'm stuck. I'm up a creek right now. I am resorting to an $11.50 Tamiya #2 wide area paintbrush. I'm gonna have to brush this one out. Plan B is in force. Okay, doing this with the brush is pretty fucking good. And I've got my flat black cut, or diluted, we should say, with rubbing alcohol, and it's probably about 50 to 60%. And it's just going on smooth enough to cover up the spots from that rattle can. I used Rust-Oleum, flat black paint and primer combined, and it went on pretty good, but if you got any kind of clogs with the spray gun, you're going to get little splotches. And this diluted Tamiya flat black is going on real smooth and covering really well. So I think I'm going to run with what I got here. I know most people just buy zinc chromate, but this is my zinc chromate recipe. Vallejo Luftwaffe green, Tester's acrylic fluorescent green, and about a 50% mix alcohol. These are the chairs for 2 of the crew members, and here is the cockpit assembly so far. And those bulkheads pop in really nice. And the pilot seat, which is a 3-piece little mini assembly, went together as easily as it possibly could have. So the cockpit assembly is so far easy and fun to do. When you encounter assembly step 2, let me save you some trouble. Do the guns first. Don't try to put the cockpit assembly in and then fit the guns. You'll go crazy. Do your guns first and then do the cockpit assembly. I hope that helps you. Don't make the mistake I made. Just want to take one quick look at the detail of the cockpit before I get this closed up with the other half of the fuselage. And the chair is canted forward, and I tried to fix that, but I didn't check it while the glue was drying, and it ends up being leaning a little bit forward. But the pilot seat looks pretty good, and the cockpit section has fairly good detail. The radar that goes in the nose of the Black Widow, this has pretty nice detail, and my GoPro doesn't focus in that tight, but there are 3 detailed decals that go on that, and that radar assembly went together very nicely, and it was fun to put together, and it looks pretty good. I still haven't decided if I'm doing wheels down or wheels up yet. I'm losing shelf space, and I might want to hang this from the ceiling. But if I do diorama, this is going to really look cool. I now find myself at the point where it's time to put the 2 halves of the fuselage together. So I am at assembly step 4, and getting that turret together, that was a heck of a deal. And so this should be very interesting, and we'll see how it turns out. But the fit so far has been pretty good. But the proof is in how the fuselage comes together. I already got glue smudged on the fuselage. I'm recoating it anyway, but my primer coat almost looks good enough to keep. So I didn't want to smear glue just in case I decided to go with what I got. This is the first time I've done fuselage halves live, I believe. And I'm just having fun at my apartment this afternoon on a day off. And it's just fun putting together this model. All right, so the turret will rotate, but I got a pretty big glue smudge I got to sand off. And I'm going to need some clamps to do this one, but the ability to fit the 2 halves together is quite good and better than many models I've built. So this is going pretty good, but this right here is going to need clamped. Now, after getting the fuselage halves together, I just wanted to give you an idea of what you might be in for building this kit. Those rubber bands are twisted on there pretty tight, and the clamps are pretty strong, and there was a pretty good gap that I needed to press together to get these to go. So I got to give this a good amount of time to dry up, and let's see how it turns out. But usually it takes me a couple of tries to get these fuselage halves together if they don't give you a tight fit right off the bat. Okay, these are the differently shaped holes where the landing gear doors go in and the landing gear themselves. But here's another great point about this model. The tree, the landing gear doors, it is actually marked right inside, left outside, right outside. So that, if you goof this up, blame yourself, because these are really clearly marked. This is very nice. At this time, I want to mention how easy it has been to cut parts off the sprues on this Revell kit compared to the B25. The B25 would leave a rash, and it was really hard. You just had to saw that off of the sprue, and these pop off without any gouges or any serious surgery that you got to do after you got it loose. So that's good. And the landing gear doors, they fit into shaped, both parts made into one another, and they need to do more of that. And so they're all differently shaped so that you really can't screw it up. I love that. This P61 kit is a little bit easier to work with than the B25. I always love stumbling across these. Here it says copyright 1974 Revell. It's always fun to learn more about the DNA of the model. If you're doing drop tanks, remember to punch the holes out before putting on cement. Don't do the mistake that I just made. Punch the holes for the drop tanks first in the wings. Right, I'm using my X-Acto hobby knife, but it's kind of a hack job, so I hope you've got a better method of doing it than the one I'm doing, because it's kind of rough. Let's take a look. Here is the wing as I have it. I'm doing flaps down, and the parts fit together very nice, and the flaps aren't giving me any trouble at all, and they look good. And I wanted to shine a little light on this radar set in the nose of the plane. I almost want to do the see-through nose just so you could see this cool device, but I'm doing the C version, and it's a long-range fighter version with a opaque black cone, but maybe I'll set it up so that it can open, so that, you know, because it's going to be in diorama mode anyway. But that thing looks cool. It's time for Canopy. I said Canopy. It's time for Canopy Corner. Woo! Let's build some models. Okay, this episode of Canopy Corner is brought to you by me. Okay, Canopy Corner. I did this a few days ago, and I used my flat black Rust-Oleum paint and primer combination. What's great about that stuff is you can get it at every hardware store practically. But this P61 has some great glass on it, and that also means a lot of masking. And masking used to be my least favorite activity, and now it's becoming kind of my favorite rabbit hole. Because if you buy the right kit, you're going to have a whole sub-project doing your canopy masking. And I've learned to enjoy that as much as the greater model itself. I still haven't taken on the B29, but that's coming up. And I'm not talking about 72 scale. I want to do it in like 48, something gigantic. And I'm going to have to do a good canopy. I now have the Tamiya masking tape pulled off, and this came out fairly well. That's the inner canopy door, and I'm doing this diorama style this time around. And so these came out fairly well. High definition cameras will make this look like absolute shit, but from a short distance, this will look okay. And the paint quality was a little bit iffy, but we're talking about Rust-Oleum rattle can instead of some custom mix. So I'm pretty happy with that. I just needed that in a pinch because, like I said, my airbrush is a little bit buggy right now, and I'm getting that worked out. So another fairly successful canopy, and this should look good on the plane. Today was one of those rare days where I had a good block of time to put towards assembly, and here's what I have so far, and things are looking pretty good, and there are slight little gaps in here, and I don't know what I'm going to do to fill that in yet, or if I'm even going to fill it in. So I may do some putty, not sure just yet. But I think I'm gonna have to shoot this with flat black one more time before I can call this done. There's too many spots I gotta touch up. But overall, this is looking pretty sharp. I am watching a YouTube video on dry brushing, and I'm gonna take a mild shot at dry brushing some silver over this thing to weather it up a little bit. So we'll see how that turns out. The box art has been really helpful with the decals. There's a 4-part stripe job that you do on the top of the wing, and you know, it's funny how you can build the whole model, and if the stripes fuck up on you, then the whole model seems like a failure. But it can come down to that, and that's part of the allure of the sport, I guess. But yeah, these stripes are going on. And I've got one in here that's semi-broken, and I'm gonna have to spend a little more work time on that. But here, look at those. It's just a flashy stripe job. I like it. All right, I got the wing decals worked in, and over here on the port side, this part broke, but it still came together pretty well. And you can see some of the dry brush weathering, and I'm going to work on some more of that. But I want to thank the YouTubers that taught me how to do that, because look at those rivets kind of popping off the black. I like that technique, so I'm going to keep working with that, and I'm going to do some more on the air intakes. So this is starting to look a little better. I'm applying micro set to the decals now, and after that I think I'm going to shoot it with some Tamiya dull clear coat and put this diorama together. Look at this beautiful baby. The Revell 1/48 scale Black Widow P61 was an enjoyable build. Fit was decent, decals good. It was fun. Well, and it's interesting having an airplane with all these guns all over it, and also 3 crew members in it, and doing the canopy glass is a worthy challenge. So this one I can recommend. Pick it up at Hobby Lobby anywhere around the country, and this is a good one if you haven't already done it. All right, this has been another quick and dirty build and review. Thanks for watching.